Serial killers aren't born, they're created. And oftentimes created by their environment, specifically from their parenting. And today we're checking out every single parent mistake that led to some of the most infamous serial killers in the world.
Edmund Kemper. His mother told him no woman would ever love him.
And so he killed them all. Honestly, I get it. Now I wouldn't do that, but I get it.
So he found a way to make sure they'd never leave. Edmund Kemper was just 8 years old when his mother started locking him in the basement every night. She said it was to protect his sisters from him.
What? Okay, there absolutely has to be more backstory than just that. There's no way you're locking up your 8-year-old kid, bro, in your outdoor basement. This kid, he must have been one of those kids that like drags in like dead animals and opens them up in front of the family. Like there's gotta be a reason, I'm saying, that the mom is scared of this kid and that he would do something to his sisters. And if not, the mom is a sicko and should be imprisoned.
She called him a real weirdo, loud enough for him to hear through the walls. She told him he reminded her of his father, and that was never a compliment. By 10, Kemper had buried the family cat alive.
I called it, dude. Now I'm back on Team Mom. See, in the first half, I was Team Edmund. Now I'm back on Team Mother.
Dug it up, then cut off its head and mounted it on a stick.
Yeah, wow, that's insane. I wonder at what point the mom knew that he was a psychopath, because now he's 10. But like, what was he doing at 5? Like, was he playing with Legos and just ripping off all the Lego heads? Because I feel like that's kind of a normal thing to do, but is it actually? Like, if I had a kid and he was ripping off the heads of Legos, I'd be like, he's a kid, what are you gonna do? But now that he's 10, he's cutting off their pet. It's not even a random cat, it's like their house cat. That's not funny. It's not funny, it's just insane.
At 14, he ran away to find his father, but his father had remarried and didn't want him. They shipped him off to live with his grandparents on a remote California ranch. His grandmother treated him the same way his mother had, constant criticism and constant control. On August 27, 1964, 15-year-old Edmund Kemper shot his grandmother in the head with...
It's not funny. I don't even know why I reacted that way. I am holding in a laugh, I'll be honest. I think I just wasn't expecting the story to go there. Even though I knew like he's a serial killer, I wasn't ready for that detail. That poor grandma. That poor grandma, dude.
When his grandfather came home, he shot him too.
Yeah. That's, wow. Unlucky. That sucks. That really sucks for the grandparents.
When police asked why, Kemper said he wanted to see what it felt like to kill grandma.
I've never been on more Team Mom in my life. I've never been on more call your kid a weirdo in my life. You know, I really did think at the beginning, like, oh, it's 100% his mom's fault. She's calling him a weirdo. She's locking him up in the basement. She's a horrible parent. But it seems like there was lots and lots of reason for that to be happening. But I guess the whole point of this video is saying that it's because of the mother doing that the kid turned out this way. So I guess in hindsight, the mom maybe should have treated the kid much better. Maybe gotten him help. Maybe like had him socialized more with other children, whatever it might be. I guess, you know what, in that light, I could see how you would blame the mom for him coming out this way. But it did also seem like as a kid, like he was already freaking weird.
And he killed grandpa so he wouldn't have to find out. Kemper spent 5 years in a psychiatric hospital. Doctors said he was rehabilitated. They released him into his mother's care.
See that's the most outrageous thing I've ever heard, and I hate that so much. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's continue.
The argument started immediately. Screaming matches so loud the neighbors called police. His mother told him he was worthless, that college girls would never look at him twice, that he disgusted her. Between 1970...
I'm still on Team Mom, bro. Like, dude, he killed her parents. I would not let him back in my house. I don't care how old he is. Get out of my house. Don't want to talk to you. Good luck in life, dude. Get out of here. There's no way.
In 1973, Kemper picked up 6 young female hitchhikers. He killed them all.
Not even mildly, remotely funny at all. That's not.
These weren't random victims. They were college students. The same women his mother worked with at UC Santa Cruz. The same women she said would never want him. After killing one victim, Kemper buried her head in his mother's garden, facing her bedroom window. Bruh. She always wanted people to look up to her, he said. On April 20th, 1973, Kemper finally did what he'd been building toward his whole life. He killed his mother with a hammer while she was sleeping.
I mean, do I even have to say anything at this point? I actually think the people who let him out of the psych ward should go to jail, or at least be fired or be punished in some way, because they are kind of like secondhandly responsible for this man being free. They had him locked up, they had him on meds, they were treating him. They are the ones that said that he is okay to go back into society. And what does he do? He kills 6 innocent ladies and he kills his mother. Like, someone needs to be held responsible for that. They had him, they let him go, he did more harm to innocent people. That's so unacceptable as a society for us to allow that to happen.
He decapitated her and used her head as a dartboard.
Maybe I'm just in a giggly mood right now, but it is not funny. That's disgusting. That's horrifying. That's awful in every single stretch of the meaning of those words.
Then he called the police and turned himself in. The killings were over. He destroyed the thing that created him. Jeffrey Dahmer. When Jeffrey Dahmer was 18, both his parents left. His father moved out. His mother took his younger brother and left. No forwarding address, no phone calls. Jeffrey was alone in an empty house. He would later say that was the moment everything fell apart. Dahmer's childhood looked normal from the outside. Suburban Ohio, 2-parent household, a little brother named David. But inside, the family was fracturing. His mother suffered from depression and anxiety, swallowing pills by the handful. His father buried himself in work, chasing a PhD in chemistry while his marriage collapsed. The two fought constantly, screaming matches that echoed through the walls. No one noticed their older son slipping away. By age 10, Jeffrey had started collecting roadkill. He'd strip the flesh from dead animals and keep the bones.
Yeah.
His father thought it was scientific curiosity. He even taught Jeffrey how to bleach and preserve the skeletons. He never asked why his son spent hours alone in a backyard hut, surrounded by jars of formaldehyde and tiny skulls. By 14, Jeffrey was drinking whiskey before—
Okay, no, that's insane. That parenting is just absurd. Like, I get on one hand, like, kids are curious. Everybody's curious, really. Like, and a lot of kids, for example, will go out into the wilderness and like bring home a snake or grasshoppers or whatever it might be. Like, kids love animals and they want to learn about them. Kids don't kill animals. Kids don't skin animals. Kids don't look in their organs and keep their bones. And if they do, your kid is weird, dude. You got a weird kid. And you gotta tell them, knock it off. That is unacceptable. As a parent, you don't encourage that. You can't encourage that behavior. You don't help that kid marinate the bones. That might be the absolute worst thing you can do, because now you're teaching him that behavior is okay, and that those thoughts that he gets of killing those animals and dissecting them and whatever is okay. And then what happens when he becomes an adult? What happens when his curiosity continues into not just animals, but humans? I mean, it's so obvious. It's so terrible of a parent. By the way, if you are interested in the Dahmer guy himself, there is a Netflix documentary of him, and I watched that, so I know a little bit more about Dahmer than probably some of the other guys on here.
Teachers noticed. His grades dropped, but no one intervened. By the time his parents divorced, Jeffrey had already learned the lesson that would define his life. People leave. Everyone leaves, and there's nothing you can do to make them stay, unless you make sure they can't. Between 1978 and 1991, Dahmer killed 17 young men. He drugged them, strangled them, and kept their bodies for as long as he could. He posed them, photographed them, slept beside them. He later told investigators he wasn't trying to hurt anyone. He just didn't want to be alone. The only way I could keep them with me, he said, was if they couldn't leave. Dahmer was beaten to death in prison in 1994.
Wasn't ready for that. It's like, the details aren't funny, but it's the way that they're presented. That's what's making me laugh. It just feels like such a curveball that they're hitting us with. Bang! Got me again.
His parents had spent years fighting over who was responsible for what their son became. In the end, they both abandoned him, and he never stopped trying to fill that emptiness. John Wayne Gacy.
Ooh, I know this guy. I don't know as much about him as I do about Dahmer, but this guy, I believe, was the guy who dressed up as a clown and, murdered a lot of people as a clown.
His father called him—
Yep, that warrants a lot. That warrants a lot. Does not warrant killing people.
Called him a sissy.
Hang on a minute. Now we're talking.
I'm a failure.
Okay, hang on. He's really pushing the buttons now.
John Wayne Gacy spent his entire childhood trying to earn approval that never came. His father was an alcoholic machinist who beat the family regularly. At 4 years old, John was whipped for accidentally moving parts in his father's car engine. At 9—
Hey, look, I'm just saying, if I messed with my dad's car and I moved stuff around, I would have got spanked on the butt. Just saying. Maybe not whipped. That's kind of crazy, but like spanked in the butt.
a family friend began abusing him. John never told anyone, terrified his father would blame him. The message was clear. Everything wrong was John's fault. He tried everything, worked hard in school, joined community organizations, built a successful business, hosted neighborhood parties, even dressed as Pogo the Clown to entertain children at hospitals. But nothing worked. His father kept calling him worthless. Then, in 1966, something changed. Gacy had married, had children, was managing restaurants in Iowa. His parents came to visit, and for the first time in his life, his father shook his hand and said, "Son, I was wrong about you." 3 years later, his father was dead. When Gacy heard the news in prison, where he was serving time for sexually assaulting a teenage employee.
It's the curveballs. Like, John, you were doing so good. You had it all. You had your family, you had your restaurant, you had this, you had that, your dad loved you. And then you go sexually assaulted the 16-year-old. And the thing is, too, it's not even alleged. Like, a lot of these situations, they're allegedly he did it. He got charged and was in prison. So they got him. And I'm assuming this is where it all goes down the hill.
He collapsed to the floor. His request to attend the funeral was even denied. Between
That's
1972
sad.
and 1978, John Wayne Gacy murdered at least 33 young men. He lured them to his home with promises of construction jobs, handcuffed them with a magic trick, assaulted and tortured them for hours, strangled them slowly with a rope tourniquet he called the rope trick. Then he buried them in the crawl space beneath his house. 26 bodies were stacked in trenches he dug himself. When police finally searched his property, the stench of decay had been seeping through heating vents for years. Gacy showed no remorse. At trial, he joked about his victims. He blamed an alter ego named Jack, said the dead were just male prostitutes and liars. He was executed in 1994. His father never lived to see what his son became, but every victim buried under that house was someone's child too, killed by a man still trying to prove he wasn't worthless.
That's so crazy. 33 people. This next guy, Albert Fish, I've never heard of. I've heard of 2 of the guys so far, not this guy.
His mother couldn't afford him, so she gave him away. Albert Fish was 5 years old when his father died of a heart attack. His mother, unable to support her children alone, made a decision that would echo through history. She placed young Albert in St. John's Orphanage in Washington, D.C. She thought she was saving him. Instead, she was creating a monster. The orphanage was a house of horrors. Teachers beat the children constantly, whipped them until they bled, and forced the others to watch. It was meant as discipline. For Albert, it became something else entirely. He discovered he liked it.
Yeah. Sometimes you know early when someone's messed up, and this is one of them. Okay, like all the teachers there, once they see this 5-year-old kid enjoys watching the beatings, come on now. Let's not entertain that. Let's put him in a special section of the building.
Watching other boys suffer excited him. Pain and pleasure fused together in his developing mind, wiring connections that should never have existed. By the time his mother finally retrieved him 5 years later, the damage was permanent. Fish spent the rest of his life chasing that feeling. As an adult, he embedded needles into his own groin. 29 were found lodged in his pelvis when doctors finally x-rayed him. He beat himself with a nail-studded paddle. He soaked cotton in lighter fluid, inserted it into his body, and set it on fire. But his own pain wasn't enough. He needed to hear children scream.
Yo, this guy's an actual sicko. All the other guys were sickos for sure. This is the freakiest guy yet by far. Albert Fish, dude. You have outdone all of the other guys. I'm not gonna give you an applause, though I did think of it, but like you're the final boss of these serial killers.
Between 1924 and 1928, Fish murdered at least 3 children. He strangled them, dismembered them, cooked them. He even sent a letter to one victim's mother describing how he ate her 10-year-old daughter over 9 days. Every detail, every recipe. Psychiatrists identified 18 different sexual abnormalities in him, more than any case in medical history. Fish claimed God commanded him to sacrifice children, like Abraham with Isaac. The jury found him insane, but they executed him anyway.
What do you mean anyway? See, that's what I don't understand. That was kind of my point earlier, was like, if you murder somebody and the jury doesn't find you insane, then you go to jail forever, you're executed, and no one really cares. But if you murder a bunch of people and they say that you're insane, then it's like, well, he's just insane. Oh, he's crazy. He just needs to go to therapy for 3 years and he'll be fine. I look at it literally the opposite. Like, bro, he killed people and he's insane. What am I doing? That makes no sense. Anyway.
1936, Fish walked to the electric chair and reportedly helped position the electrodes himself.
Wow.
His last written statement was so depraved, his own lawyer refused to release it, calling it the most filthy string of obscenities I have ever read. The child his mother abandoned to save money had grown into America's most disturbing killer. Henry Lee Lucas.
Okay, and this is the last one. I don't know who this guy is either. Henry Lee Lucas. Lee Lucas is a cool name. Yeah, all right, let's hear about him. Let's see if he can one up the Albert Fishman.
His mother dressed him as a girl. Then she
All right, here we go. Yep, hot start.
sold him. Henry Lee Lucas was born in 1936 in a one-room dirt floor cabin in Virginia. His mother, Viola, sold herself to strangers and made her son witness things no child should ever see.
Oh,
If he looked
God.
away, she beat him. If he
What?
cried, she beat him harder.
Okay, she needs to be in jail. Like, point blank. Like, that's so absurd. This kid I don't blame for turning into a weirdo. This one is by far the most parental fault of them all. It's not even close. What are we doing?
Watching wasn't the worst part. Viola dressed young Henry in girls' clothes, with dresses and long hair. She paraded him through town like that for years. But why? Because in this way she could sell him to her clients, to men, to women, to anyone willing to pay. His father was a legless alcoholic who sold pencils on the street. He couldn't protect Henry. He couldn't even protect himself. One night, trying to escape the horror inside that cabin, he crawled outside drunk and froze to death in the snow. Henry was beaten constantly. When he was 7, his mother smashed a wooden plank across his skull. He spent days unconscious. When he was 10, his brother slashed his face with a knife. The wound got infected. His mother ignored it until a teacher accidentally struck the damaged eye. It burst and had to be surgically removed.
I mean, there's so many questions I have, but the one that just like popped in my head right there is like, why did the teacher accidentally bang him in his eye? And how did they not notice it earlier? If it's infected, it would probably be pussy and swollen and gross and discolored. Why does the teacher whacking him or whatever? How is that the way that they figure it out?
Henry learned that he was worthless, something to be used, sold, and discarded. In 1960, during a Christmas visit, his mother demanded he move back home to care for her. They argued. She hit him with a broom, and he stabbed her in the neck. She died instantly on the floor. Lucas was convicted of her murder and spent years in prison. When authorities released him early due to overcrowding, he warned them, "I'm not ready to go." They released him anyway. That same day, Lucas killed a woman within walking distance of the prison gates, his gift to the people who set him free.
I mean, need I say any more? I mean, I've already talked about our system for a little while now, but like, my God, that is just so awful. That's so terrible. Poor girl.
He was eventually convicted of 11 murders. He confessed to hundreds more, though many were later proven false. The truth of his body count may never be known.
Wow, that was one of the more absurd videos that I've ever checked out. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, comment down below other videos similar if you want me to watch more, and I'll see you in the next one.